Cool. So we are now live, and we've just got 2 minutes to go, and then we'll start kicking off the webinar. Attendees are filling up quite nicely, which is good. So just as I said, just 2 minutes, and we'll start our network optics and Securenet webinar. All right, it's just hit 9 o'clock or 10 a.m. depending on where you are or wherever else you may be. So we'll get kicked off. Thanks everyone for joining us. Be presenting the network optics and Securenet integrated solution with myself, James Cox, and Ivo from Securenet. This is the first presentation we'll be doing that I've been doing, anyway, with our new branding as well. So for those of you that might not have seen it on other webinars yet, we've got our new brand since 4.1 launched. It's just a lot more modern stuff. Cool. So we'll go into it. To start with, network optics. For those of you that don't know us, if you're customer side, we're an open video management platform. The company was kind of founded mainly for one core thing, and that was to make video a lot simpler, a lot more accessible, easier to use. Because when we first founded back in 2011, a lot of the platforms that were out were still kind of new to the IP space, IP video space, and they didn't have as much easier controls and the speed of delivering the large kind of data that was required for IP video. So you can see our 3 core principles on the right there. The usability of it: lightweight, meaning it's faster, it installs on anything, and extensible, which means we can really adapt. And with our open APIs and open SDKs, we can tie into people like Securenet to make this more targeted to specific verticals or anything you're specifically trying to do. So one of the things we'll be talking about is the autonomous security side. So just for a quick overview, I've got a short video, which I'll just play. It's only a minute long, just to give you a quick brief overview. So you can see it's completely flexible, our UI. We've got built-in mapping with live video overlays, fisheye, dewarping. We'll be doing a small demo of the integration, and I'll give you a quick overview of the client as well at the end of the presentation to give you a better idea. But you can see the idea of the platform. It's single UI, it's single click, so you don't have to search a lot or type a lot or do a lot of different clicks to get to certain data or find certain things. And even the settings are all done in pop-up tabs to really make sure you're never going away from that live view. So as I said, speed of the system is a focus, speed and usability. All right, we'll jump on. So one of the things we're going to talk about is autonomous security. So obviously we're partnered with Securenet today. The idea of it being the AI now allows you to power autonomous security. So what do we mean by that? It's not a new concept, right? It's been around for a while. It's just got a lot smarter. So before, autonomous security is you kind of access control where you tap your card reader on your card on a card reader, and it automatically opens a door, right? That creates your autonomous security because it's got a rule in the access control side of it. Effectively, it's just an if that, then this kind of engine. And before, there wasn't much in terms of sensors and things of what information you can get. So while we're talking about it now, is the AI has kind of empowered a new revolution in autonomous security, right? So if we take the access control, now if we add video to it, rather than actually having to walk up, tap a card, which anybody can get hold of that card effectively access that door, we can now actually run facial recognition, for instance, to actually see, yep, that's, for instance, me, that's James, he's coming up, we've got facial recognition, we can open the door. So what it's doing, AI is now turning IP cameras into a very intelligent sensor, right? Whereas before we kind of had not dumb sensors, but less intelligent sensors. So now we can, before you might have a ground loop to open up a gate, instead of using a ground loop or a beam to open up a gate, we can actually use license plate recognition or even object classification, right? So if a car comes up to a barrier, then the gate opens. If a person walks up to a barrier, the gate doesn't open, they just walk around the gate if there's a pedestrian entrance. Whereas traditionally, if you're using kind of a beam, even if a person walks through that beam, unless you have a dual beam setup, it's not gonna differentiate between a car and a person. So these kind of AI now allows us to really get more intelligent. Now we've got object classification as well, where we can actually tell the difference in a scene between a person, animal, and if it's a person, do this, if it's an animal, do that. It's really allowing us to get more autonomous in terms of how the security is set up. So we no longer have to have as many people watching and making decisions. We have a rules engine, which is a big part of NX, which I'll touch on in a second, that really allows you to tie all these concepts together to say, okay, if one of these kind of sensors or metadata items comes in from one of our AI partners, what do we want to do with that? And we take away that decision making. And then obviously you can increase the accuracy by reviewing these events and making sure that the right event is occurring or the right rule is triggering the right event or metadata. So yeah, what we're talking about is, instead of just your normal sensor, if that, then this statements, we're talking about metadata driven if statements effectively. So moving on. So like I said, how does NX get involved in this, considering we've got the AI and we have the output? So we sit in the middle, right? So we're an open video management platform. And one of the best things about our platform is the fact that we have a REST API and we have metadata integration tools that effectively you can just download from our website without having to talk to us, right? We've tried to make it as easy as possible for people to create these systems and just be that kind of connector in the middle. We record, we database everything, and we allow, say, the AI to tell us to then trigger something else. And we support thousands of IP devices. We're starting to support more and more AI companies. And then even the stuff that we don't support right now, people are out there using our tools to basically integrate on the fly in a pretty rapid way to create these customized systems and really kind of expand on what security can do. To the point now where it's not really can something do it, it's can someone come up with the idea and then we can do it, kind of thing. So if we move on, you can see this is kind of like an example of how it would work, right? So in NX Witness, we manage all the resources. So if you've got thousands of cameras, or even if you've only got 4 cameras, we take all those cameras, we record them all, we do all the settings side, we manage all of that for someone. And then the AI device can connect to our NX Witness server. It can request which resources it wants, so it doesn't have to do any of the camera management, doesn't have to do any of the recording, setting the devices. The cameras then get grabbed from our server via our REST API. The AI device will then analyze those streams, do the object classification, look for the alerts, line crossing, intrusion detection, and then it sends all that information back to us. So if it sees an alert, it sends us an alert back. If there's no alerts, but it's just collecting metadata, then it sends all the metadata back to us so we can have it in a database to be searched later as well. And then after the event comes in, obviously, if you get an alert come in to say, okay, someone's jumped over the fence, or in this case, we're saying someone's walked up to an automatic door and they're not wearing their face mask, just to make it relevant. Pretty sure that's a global issue right now. Don't open up the door, like don't close the relay. We can use like an IO board to make sure the relay's open. And then if someone walks up with a face mask on and the face mask is detected by the AI, our relay closes, the door then will open using the automatic motion trigger. All that while we're obviously storing and recording all these events. So a really brief architecture there on the right. You can see we've got the NX server connecting to the cameras, sending the data to Securenet. Securenet then sends all the alarms, triggers, metadata back to us. We have someone viewing it, and we have the autonomous relay closing for the door to allow the motion sensor to work. So pretty simple, but it allows us to do a lot more where traditionally before you might have actually had to have a security guard sitting there, which they still do, right? I went to Sainsbury's the other day and there's still someone stood at the door making sure you're wearing your mask and counting how many people are going in and out. So that's a really quick kind of overview of like setting what we're kind of going for and how we're working with AI companies to kind of improve on security and make sure that things aren't missed, right? One of the downsides with the human side of things is we do get tired, we do miss things, we look away from the screen, we leave our post to go to the toilet, someone's left stood at a door waiting, whereas AI doesn't sleep, right? It's always working, it's always going. So you can have the two-factor where you still have that person sat there, and then you have the AI that can kind of do the first level, and then if the person sees something that the AI's missed, then they can act upon that, and it just gives you increased confirmation rates effectively. All right, so on that note, on that very quick crash course on autonomous AI, I will hand it over to Ivo. Ivo, if you want to jump in and introduce yourself and your company and take over the screen.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. James, if you can just confirm that you're hearing me fine.
Yep, we can hear you, Ivo.
Okay, let me just quickly pop this one up. And take this to the beginning. First, well, thank you, Network Optics and James, of course, for allowing us to introduce ourselves and our technology to the audience today. Thank you for the introduction, James. What am I going to try and do in a good half an hour is the following. Quickly introduce the company and why Securenet's artificial intelligence would be a good fit, not only for connecting to the Network Optics platform, but in general for artificial intelligence applications. The specific product we're going to be talking about today is the AI box, which popped up already in the introduction. We're going to show some video clips showing you the performance of the AI box. If time permits, we'll take you through some video clips which are showing some quick configuration tips. And then I have some clips that show specifically the integration into NX Witness 4.1. But as James referred to in the introduction, we have a live system set up, and we prefer to use that to show you that integration. So most probably I'm going to spend a little bit less time on the video clips and more time on the live demo, because I think that's really what you all would prefer to see. Good, well, let's jump into it. Securenet, maybe the name is not that well known, and maybe I need to reiterate that quickly. Securenet is the brand name that we use for our AI products. The mother company behind it is called ITX, which is based in Korea, in Seoul. They exist already quite a long time. I mean, we have 22 years of history behind us. We have been working with a quite robust customer base so far. Maybe the ITX product wasn't that well known, and obviously Securenet neither, because we just launched that brand at the beginning of this year. But we had large OEM customers like CBC and Pelco in our portfolio. The company is not that small. We're 130 people, roughly, stock listed at the Korean stock market. Well, you can see the other points in there. I think one thing maybe to talking historically, we were one of the companies to launch a first full HD embedded NVR a number of years back. In the meantime, we're expanding our operations on the world map. You can see that we have our head office in a Korean factory in the area of Seoul, and the factory is like an hour's drive away from there. We have another factory which is mainly doing our camera business, based in China. And then we have a US sales office in New Jersey, and we just started with a small branch office for Europe, where I'm based in Belgium. We've been focusing on video analytics for over 10 years. So, I mean, if you really go back in the history, we were building DVRs, NVRs, And then we moved over more to the intelligence side, so to say, and working on video analytics. And since a good 5 years, we're working more on deep learning artificial intelligence applications, to which I'm going to come back in a minute. Okay, a little word about myself very quickly. I've been in the industry for quite a long time, roughly 30 years. Most of my career I've been working for various manufacturers. Going back to the analog days, that was Dedicated Micros and Pelco, where I led up their EMEA operations. And then more recently, I spent time working for Indigo Vision, based out of the UK, and Aircount Vision, which was or is an American-based camera manufacturer, specifically for multifocal cameras. And then since a good year, I started doing some consulting since 3 years, helping out startups to find their way in Europe. And I started since a good year doing that activity for Securenet in EMEA. So that's a quick word about me. Why would you use Securenet's artificial intelligence? I mean, there's a number of reasons why we think that we have an interesting product. And you'll find a number of the arguments on this slide. I think the first one is that we have what we call deep learning video analytics, which is different from the more standard video analytics. By doing that, you minimize false alarms coming in because the detection is a lot more accurate, also because of the self-learning principle in the analytics. We are a big fan, a big promoter of edge-based devices versus server-based devices. There is an ongoing good discussion about what the best way to do AI is. Should it be server-based or should it be sitting on the edge? I think both approaches have their advantages and disadvantages, but we have made a conscious choice to focus on edge-based devices. Also because we think, and I'll show that in the next slide quickly, we think that we can offer server-based ways of computing on our edge-based device. Not only you minimize false alarms, but you'll save most probably on storage as well by filtering out non-useful events and focusing only on the events that you want to store. And we do that by also applying active event triggers in there. So these are the key points. On the right side of the slide, you find a bit more background information on that. Our deep learning AI is Securenet proprietary. We focus a lot on customization. So if a customer has a specific application or a need, our R&D team will look into that and see if we can set it up and have it tested as well, so that it can self-learn how to deal with the data for that specific application. Other points maybe to bring up, most probably the way that we do our analytics reduces your total cost of ownership of the system, especially towards infrastructure and infrastructure failures. Like I said, it's a smart way to reduce data, and James referred to the last 2 points already. I mean, we have a very fluid REST API to work with, embedded in the AI box, and obviously we've been focusing recently a lot on closing up our relationship with Network Optix, because we think it's one of the most interesting platforms on the market for the moment. So we managed to get into a full rich integration with the NX Witness platform, which we're going to be showing you today. Okay, a quick word, because there's still some confusion on the market about how artificial intelligence operates. Now, I know most of the people in the audience know this, so I'm going to jump quite quickly through that, except if somebody would raise his finger and say, I want to learn more. I think all of us in the audience are past the motion detection confusion, so to say. I think a lot of people understand what motion detection is and what the limitations are. Especially towards many false alarms still coming through. If you move over to video analytics, it's already a lot better, a lot more selective, but often the object calibration is quite complicated, and you have to redo it on a regular basis in order to bring down the number of false alarms and data coming through. On the calibration side, through limited detection and classification levels, it operates more complicated. So it's less accurate, and you need to reset those calibrations on a regular basis. If you start looking at real artificial intelligence and the deep learning or self-learning artificial intelligence, the burden of calibration goes away to a very large extent. Your accuracy of detection gets well over 90%, at least on ours, and I can show you some numbers on that. You get less influenced by environmental conditions like challenging lighting conditions at night, or heavy rain or snow, etc. Through our proprietary AI, we can do a lot of customization, and we can combine multiple rules and object detections, which makes it a quite intelligent system to filter out the data that you really want to get to. Okay, a quick word about our lineup. The product we're going to be focusing on today really is the AI box, which is the product sitting at the top of the pile of photographs on the right side. But I just want to bring up that we also have a full range of IP cameras, let it be fisheye, bullet cameras, turret cameras, or dome cameras, mini domes, with different levels of AI detection on board. There's a slide a little bit later on showing that. Just to tell you that we're building out a complete range of AI products that connect very easily to platforms like Network Optix. Maybe one or two points to bring up still is that we get to 4K input and can detect that on 4 channels simultaneously. We can handle up to 16 channels of full HD and have our analytics, multiple analytics running over those pictures as well. So quite comprehensive. And the other one is, especially versus server-based type of AI systems, is the power efficiency coming out of the AI box. I mean, a quick calculation of a server-based system consuming 400 watts versus our A box consuming 10 watts makes a difference of roughly $44, $45 a month in power consumption. So especially in the larger installations, that's something that people are taking more and more into account. Also thinking about the green labeling that people like to put forward. Performance, I talked about this very briefly a couple of slides backwards. We think that with our AI box, we're making, or at least trying to make, a paradigm shift where we can, with our edge computing device, can get to server-based computing. What does that mean? That basically, if you look at the drawing at the left bottom side, a lot of the server-based systems doing AI run on NVIDIA or Intel platforms at a certain cost in order to get to the computing power that they need to run their artificial intelligence. Our AI box is able to do the same without all that extra server-based computing power. So it's a lot easier to deploy. It sits on the edge. You don't need extra CPUs. It's completely operating system free. You can configure it in the way that you want, and you don't need to add other control devices like Google or Microsoft or whatever in order to get to a working system. So it's a contained all-in-one type of box. You connect it up, and off you go, so to say, in a bit of a simplistic way. Talking about accuracy. Basically, we have our products tested by the KISA, which is the Korean Internet Security Agency. And if I jump quickly one slide ahead, they got quite hefty test criteria for the products. So if you look at this tabling, like, for instance, if you want to test the loitering detection or the intrusion detection, they want to do the testing on 150 different objects running. If you look at the bottom of that table, you need to do testing at 6 different times of the day between sun rising and sunset, at different distances, different weather conditions. You need to do it over 3,500 clips. So it's not just random. And all these tests lead up to the numbers that we have in red on this slide. So for instance, for loitering, you need to get over a 90% accuracy rate. Ours was close to 95. For intrusion, the same, we got to 96. And business intelligence applications like people counting in stores, etc., we got over 97%. As I always say, numbers are worth what they are worth. But it gives me a comfort level in stating that our AI box and our other AI products detect very accurately or do very accurately the detections that you want to do with the product. So that's, I think, the key message to take away from this one. Okay, leading up to some video clips I want to show you. We talked briefly about customization. We have in the meantime a lot of different detections and recognitions algorithms available on the AI box and the other products. You see the variety here of human detection, vehicle detection, for instance, helmet detection, fire detection, thermal detection, etc. Obviously, the mass detection, James referred to that as well, with the actual situation in the world is a big one. On the right side, you see the recognition algorithms like face recognition, gender. We do actively privacy masking as well for those applications and areas where that is necessary. We do, for instance, fallen person detection, but the next ones we're going to be launching, we continuously keep developing extra detection methods to add to our products. We're doing a lot of testing on behavioral type of applications for the moment, like aggression detection, loud voice, these type of things. Basically saying we're adding on a regular basis license key for download that people can add to their existing products. And like I said before, based on requests from specific customers or projects, we work on customization as well. Just a quick word on the human mid and far and vehicle mid and far that you see on the left side of the screen. I'm not going to show any data on that, but for instance, for human detection, we only need a couple of percentages of the total pixel size of a picture in order to do a decent human detection. You will see that in some of the video clips that I'm going to show you in a minute. Well, we'll jump into that straight away. I have a number of examples to show you. This, just for reference, are pictures coming straight out of the AI box. So it's not the integration to NX Witness yet. That is what we're going to show in the next set of clips, and then definitely in the live demo that we're going to be doing in like roughly 10 minutes, I would say. Showing you, I'll put the clips in motion. I think that one of the things you see here is 4 channels running at 4K resolution. You see a lot of movement in the top pictures with people crossing the street, and you see the accuracy of the detection picking up, I think, all the people that I can notice in the picture. So that's one to take away from this set of video clips. Another one, if you look at the different pictures, you can see different weather conditions. Top left is sunshine, top right is rain with some drizzling snow. Left bottom is really snow. And you see that it's not disturbing the detection in any way, even if some of the snow flocks coming down might get to a size of a small person walking around, he's not picking it up. You can see also the multiple detection going, that he differentiates cars from people, etc. So just to show you that it can handle a lot of objects at the same time. You just move to the next one. here you're going to see, again, 4 channels in 4K resolution, but there are quite distinct scenes. I mean, the cameras handle different angles of view. You got different types of lighting conditions, and which sometimes might be a bit challenging, especially on the right bottom side. With the traffic lights at nighttime, you can see that it detects the cars, the persons, despite the fact that the person crossing the street is quite a small size of the picture. He's picking up the person on a regular basis. You can see the detection on the cars on the right top side. You can see the counter running on the top left picture. So you can really set up your screens and your pictures in the way you want it, and combine multiple detections with multiple scenes, with multiple weather conditions, and still get to quite accurate results. Okay, some license plate recognition applications. You can see that the license plate recognition operates across different lanes. You can see that at the left top picture, where it's handling the different lanes, and it doesn't really need a lot of time in order to pick up the plate and register it. You can see in that same picture, top left, that it can handle as well the numbers as the different ways of writing. If it's Cyrillic, Arabic, whatever, we can handle that. If you go to the right bottom picture, you can see the challenging conditions with headlights at nighttime. If a car comes close to the zone where it needs to detect, the lights are still quite blurry, and then he still managed in the short period that the license plate is visible. He picks up the license plate and stores it. Specifically concerning Europe, we've been testing various license plates in the meantime. The UK license plates work fine. Concerning the European continent, we've been testing so far French license plate, Polish ones, and Italian ones, and these are integrated in the product. And as we go along, we're going to keep adding types of license plates to that. We're doing, as a matter of fact, for the moment, some testing for some other parts of the world as well. Let's see, let's move to this one, which is showing you an example of how it can handle 16 channels in full HD. So you can see the various pictures. There's 2 things I want to highlight here. Again, the top right side, you can see a number of night scenes where it does accurate detection. Let me just restart the clip because this is a shorter one. So despite the lights falling on the street, also in the tunnel on the top side, it does accurate detection. And then another thing I wanted to show you here, we get on a regular basis requests to that if you keep an eye on the 3rd line of pictures and the picture on the right side, you will see that moving in a minute. It's a PTZ camera. I hope everybody sees that. I'll rerun it. But despite the fact that you move the camera, he keeps detecting the humans in this case that are walking through the picture. So even with a moving camera, the system stays very accurate in picking up the data. There is the camera moving, picking up the data that you want to see. So I think that's one to highlight here. Some various applications. Let me start with the top one and move it a bit forward. It's just doing intrusion detection and loitering detection in various zones with people walking at nighttime, infrared cameras. It doesn't influence the accuracy of the detection. So you got 3 people now moving in the various zones. just move to the bottom side, which is another example of license plate recognition in quite challenging lighting conditions. There's the truck pulling up with his headlights, and he's going to enter the zone in a second, where he's going to pick up the license plate. So quite challenging, a bit further, but I think that's the more normal stuff. You're going to see the same scene in daylight. Just move over to this side. This is a combination of multiple rules. So it's not only the license plate recognition, but it's also counting people and counting cars driving in and out. You can see the counters for car out and car in there. And at the same time, he's doing the license plate recognition. So again, an example of how you can combine multiple rules in one picture. And then I wanted to show you this one about gender detection. I know this might be a sensitive area because of privacy regulation, especially in Europe and certain places in Europe. And it's not so much for that reason I want to show you the picture, but more to show you, again, the accuracy of the detection. You will see, I'll start the picture now, but you will see, ladies and gentlemen, walk through the picture in very short periods. It picks up immediately if it's a man or a woman, even wearing masks, even looking at the back of the person only because of gesture. And that's a typical example of how the system self-learns. The more people it sees, the better it understands what the gender of the person will be, and he gets to a very accurate way of detecting. Concerning applications, to be honest, it really depends on what on one side, privacy regulation permits, and on the other side, also, of course, how comfortable people are with this type of application, especially in large audiences. But for me, this clip is more important to show you how accurate the system can get. Okay. A quick word about our COVID-19 application. We developed a version of the AI box, which is combining a couple of detections. One is measuring social distance. The other one is people counting to make sure that there are not too many people, for instance, in a store at a given moment. And we can combine that with the privacy masking to safeguard the privacy of the persons that we are detecting. And then also do the mask detection. So left side are some drawings out of our brochure explaining you the application. The clips that I'm going to run, let me start with the social distance, which is on a fisheye camera, worthwhile to mention as well. So we can also do it on a fisheye cameras. If people get too close to each other, an alarm will go off. You can see the zone turning pink now where people are too close to each other. Which would set off a warning sign for somebody from staff in a store or a steward at the store to go and take a look, see if something needs to be said or done there. I'll just rerun it one more time so you can see the people approaching. And then depending on the threshold that you set, it will make the alarm go off. So that's one application. The other one, and you can combine those, is people entering the store. So this is enter-exit counting combined with privacy masking. So people are not recognizable because that's not what we're trying to do here. We just want to know if too many people are entering a store or not. And like James was saying in the introduction, you could combine that with a door closing or a red light showing up saying that you have to wait a little while until some people have left the store again. And then the last, the third one, again, could be in combination, is the mask detection that we're going to be showing. So you have some people running, walking through a hallway, and you will see that some of them are wearing masks, other ones not. Maybe the texting is not really clear in the small picture, but it says clearly who's wearing a mask and who's not wearing a mask. It doesn't need a lot of time. I have some other clips from a customer that is showing really in detecting just a couple of seconds to make sure if somebody's wearing a mask or not. So that is our special COVID application. I'm not sure if there are any questions here, or if you want to leave that until the end of the session or send them off to James in a chat mode and we can pick them up later. But conscious of time, I'm going to move on to the, these are some basic configurations in the AI box. Now, what I don't want to do is slam you to death with settings. I don't think that is going to be the purpose of today. The only thing I quickly want to do is show you some fragments of the clips showing you how easy it is to set up the AI box. So in this part, you're going to see that you have a so-called auto detect for ONVIF devices on it. So the AI box will discover automatically which devices are connected to the AI box, so you don't need to go through manual setup to do that all. So that's basically what you're seeing here. You did an auto detect, you can see all the devices connected to the AI box, and then you go from there, and that's maybe another one to highlight, into the long list of different settings that you can set up for the AI detection over different forms of human detection, license plate, gender, human for fisheye cameras, etc. So that's what I wanted to show you in this clip. I'm just going to show you like 3 or 4 like these, just quickly explaining some highlights. This clip is going to show you the combined counter settings. So I'm going to go to the more visual part of the clip, which is around here, where you will see you can set, for instance, a line for a counter, and you can do that for forward and reverse counting. So it's a very easy way to set up the box, very visual. You can freely move the line across the picture and set it up the way you want to set it up. And then if I take the clip a little bit further, you're going to see the same thing for another hallway where we're setting up both reverse and forward counting. And then you can combine those counter over multiple cameras as one result. So if, for instance, you want to know the total number of movements in your building or on your floor, you can combine the different cameras to get to a result like that. So that's this clip. Just move on to the next one. This one is going to show you how the multiple rules operate. It looks a bit like a confusing picture, but we set up different counters, different ways of detection. So it's detecting people, it's detecting cars, it's counting in various zones the cars, and the clip will take you through the setup of these various settings, detections. For the people that really, we use these clips a lot of times as a guideline for people that quickly want to set up their AI box, because doing it visually rather than giving you a 200-page manual works a lot better. So that's where these clips originate from. We see what, so this one is an example of multiple filters that we're going to set up. Just take you to the visual part of the clip. It's going to be around here somewhere. I think it's going to be here. Okay, so it's the same picture as before, but here you can see that we're setting up these different filters. We're also setting up ignore filters. So if you want to exclude certain parts of the picture from detecting, you can set up freely zones where the system is not going to detect at that moment. And that's what you see in this picture happening. And the last one I think I want us to show you here is how we organize support, so to say. Just so at the beginning of the clip, you can see that the API documentation is in the AI box that you get, so you can freely download that and start working with it. It's readily available for people that want to start doing their own integrations. So that's one part I wanted to show you, and then the other part, let me just pick that one up. It's going to be around here somewhere. Is here. You can see here the MAC address info and a remote code, which serves to connect remotely to the AI box to do technical support, help you with setups, programming, etc. If you need help with that. So the only thing we need is to have you connect the box to the internet, and we can connect to it and help you do the settings and the setup of the AI box. So it makes supporting it very easy as well. Now let me see, because I really want to make sure we get to the demonstration in time. Just a very quick word about our AI cameras. So we have different models, like I said before, the bullet ones, mini domes, turrets, fisheye. We have 4 levels of our cameras. The basic level we call Sense, which has basically just human detection on board. The Claire camera range has human detection and tracking on board. And if you connect it to one of our NVRs, you would get a full array of detection licenses you could add through the NVR through it. The Pro range has got object detection and tracking. That means it doesn't only detect humans, but also cars, bicycles, etc. And you can add and does a tracking of that as well. And you can add a rule engine to it. So you can add an additional license out of that list, that growing list of licenses I showed you before, to download into the camera. And then the Ultra range is going one step further, which is adding still the possibility to add a second rule, and it tops up the performance of the camera. So it's just a quick sidestep to let you know if people would be interested in not just the AI box, but also IP cameras with detection on board, we can offer that as well. I'm going to move over to the NX part. We did a full integration into the NX Witness platform on a metadata level. Another way to say it is that you can have a full bounding box integration into the NX Witness platform, where the functionalities of our AI box are fully integrated into the platform and pop up as bounding boxes in the working of the system. We do that for Windows and we do that for Linux. Windows has been out for 2 weeks now. Reactions have been very positive about it, and I think a number of the people are in the session today, so they can witness that, I hope. Linux we just launched this week, so people are going through the testing of that, but results are very encouraging as well there. James, I'm looking at you for a second. If you want me to stop here and go to the demo, or should I still show 1 or 2 clips quickly to see how it works?
Yeah, you can show this clip real quick, because I think it's a pretty good angle, whereas the demo we have is obviously inside of Office.
Okay, good. So what you're going to see here is basically the operation of the AI box, which I showed you in some other clips as a standalone unit, integrated into the NX platform. So this is a typical people counting application. Sorry, this is bike detection, excuse me. So it detects the bikes, and when somebody drives through that zone, you can see on the right side the picture pop up. The accuracy is not, that's a personal opinion maybe, but it's not ideal yet, because for some of the pictures, you can only see the back end of the clip, so to say, the picture, so to say, and you need to rewind a little bit to get to the full picture showing you the person driving through. I think that's a bit of fine tuning that we still need to do. These clips were just made a small week ago with the help of Jason from NX APAC, as a matter of fact. So if Jason is on the call, thanks a lot for that. Let me just pick up one or two more quickly. Let me see, this is similar, so I'm going to skip that one. This is vehicle counting. Let me just skip that one for a second. See what we got. This one is an interesting one with people counting that I want to show. So we drew a line across the street, and as people walk through, you can see the picture pop up on the right side of the people that it's counting. This is only forward counting, not reverse. I think you're going to see At a given moment, a person walking reverse through the street, the lady is popping up on the left side now, so she will not be counted because it's only one direction that it's counting for the moment. But you can see how nicely and fluidly it's integrated in the NX Witness platform. Now let me see if I got one last one, maybe. Just check this one. This is another example of people counting. I'm just going to go forward because it's showing the settings as well, and I don't want to do that. I think we're pretty much there. So this is another way of people counting. Here we're doing the reverse. So it's counting the people filmed on the back and not the people walking towards the line. So it just shows you the integration into the AI box. I hope that this has given you a pretty good feeling about what we do with our AI technology, how we embed it in the AI box, and how we connect that up to NX Witness. I think I'm going to leave it at this because that's going to give us like a good 10 to 15 minutes to show you the live systems that we set up. So James, I'm going to hand it over to you again so you can pick up the live pictures coming from France.
Yep, perfect. All right, appreciate that. Great presentation. I think everyone has a good understanding of the system now. All right, so what I'll do is I will take over the screen. So this morning, we set up a quick demo of the system. So can you see my screen okay, Ivo, just to confirm?
Sorry, I was muted, James. Yes, I can see your screen.
Perfect. Cool. So courtesy of our partners eCare in France, this morning they had a Securenet box at their site and we managed to get it set up. It's not fully calibrated, but I'll give you a live demo idea. So I'll also give you a quick overview of kind of the NX platform. So like I mentioned before, the speed of the system is something we worked on. You can see we can grab video streams. This is coming, I'm in the UK right now, and this is coming from France pretty fast without any kind of delay or lag. So here you can see we've actually got the area of interest or the region of interest drawn, overlaid on the screen. That isn't always there. It's not like before where it was burnt into the image. If we open up our objects tab, we can see it. As I said, we haven't fully calibrated this, so right now it's picking up the computer stand as a person. But we can see we can scroll through on the right-hand side to see all the items that it's picked up. And if we're looking for something specific, we can start using our search functions. So I can type where we say any type. We have a list of all the classifications inside of the Securenet system. So bicycle, bikes, buses, cars, the counters, faces. So you can do facial recognition. So if we just want to see person, then obviously it's going to bring up all of a person, which right now is detecting the camera stand. But then if I want to say I only want to see a person in a certain area, so let's draw our zone over the side here. Now it's only going to detect when there was a person that came into this blue box. So you can now see we're getting more accurate readings. So if we double click here, it's going to jump us back to that time. So we can see that Guillaume, who's the director of eCare, sat there in his office in a call or doing some demos. I'm sure he'll appreciate me pointing him out. But so we can start jumping through, right? So we can search by time, date, we can search by region, kind of like our smart motion. We can draw the area that we're looking for, that specific item or object. And then it all comes in pretty well overlaid as if it's a seamless system. And that's one of the things that we really try to achieve with our extensibility of the as an installer, you may have to install two separate systems. But from an end user's point of view, you want to use this as a single fluid system, right? So we want for an end user to feel like you're just using one piece of software and not having to jump between multiple things. And that's where we achieve this with our really deep integrations. So you can see here it's picking up two people in the scene. As I said, all searchable on the side. So we can jump in, we'll grab a couple of other cameras. So we've got the entrance here. We've got a couple of different regions or zones on here as well. And these can also be turned on and off if you don't want to see them. So at the moment you can see it's detecting everything coming into this region. So if I right click the camera and go to camera settings, I can go to plugin and what's enabled and what's not enabled on the system. And then we also have our ROI. So this is where we can actually display on the video or take away our regions, right? If we don't want to actually see them on the screen and we just want to see the people coming in and out and the boxes around the people, but we don't want to see the big purple area. If I apply that now, our regions have disappeared. They're still there in the back end. They're still in the Securenet system, but we can still see when people are coming in, right? So, and I can do a different filter because this is running a different AI set. I should be able to search woman, and then it will show us every time a woman enters the screen. Again, like I said, not fully calibrated yet, as we're still, we just set it up. You see how it caught the back of that woman there. And then we can scroll through and see what it's picking up. And unfortunately for some of these gentlemen, it is picking them up as women, but as I said, it's just the calibration at the moment. We haven't set up completely. And then we also have we've got one for cars here as well, just to give you an idea of an outside zone. So right here, we've got all the different things. So we're still searching for women. So if we get rid of women, now you can see it's picking up the cars or a person. Sorry, that one's actually picking up the person walking across the screen there. And then we can also scroll through here and see if we want to look for anything specific. So let's say we want to see a car. Now it's going to start grabbing us all the cars. Obviously, they haven't moved in a while, but you'll see that all the cars will have the tags over them. I think I'm getting some bandwidth issues at the moment, but that's what Zoom does. Takes up a lot of bandwidth. So you can see, or if I hit play, so you can see all the cars now are tagged as well inside the system. So if we had bikes, it would take the bikes. So really good for searching, really good for looking for specific items or anything, right? And then on top of that, which is it's hard to emulate right now, is our rules and events engine that we discussed. So if I jump into the camera settings and go back to our camera rules, so this is what we mentioned about the whole autonomous kind of security side of things. I need system. Sorry, I don't have admin access. I need admin access for that. And as it's our customer side, they haven't given it to us. But so in the rules and events engine, I can show you real quick on one of our other systems in our Taipei office, just to give you an idea of how they all link together to create a single system, autonomous security system. So you can see our cloud system works really nicely for logging in. I don't have to log into each site individually. Once I'm logged into my cloud, I can get access to anything. So on here, we also have a Securenet box set up. So let me just see which cameras have the Securenet on them. So if I right click here, we can go to camera rules. So in the camera rules here, this is our rules and events engine. This is where we can say on a analytic event, and then we can select the camera that has the analytic event on it, which should be the door, I believe. And then once we've selected that, we now have a list of all the different AI that's on that. That looks like a different system. I'm not 100% sure which camera we have the system running, so I'll just. So we can have, it will show you all the different AIs that set up inside of the box. So we can say, for instance, on the line crossing, like Ivo showed, or intrusion when someone's entering one of those regions of interest. And then what do we want to do with it? So that's where we can bookmark it. We can change PTDs. We can trigger output relays or input relays. We can even send mobile notifications, right? So if you've got security guards or system admins and they've got their phone on them and someone's jumped a fence or someone's gone through where they shouldn't, it can automatically push a notification to your phone to let you know what's going on. So these systems are becoming extremely autonomous now with our rules engine. You really don't need someone sitting there monitoring. It's like having a live security guard in your pocket effectively now. We have the push notification system, the mobile app. We also have different things like speak. So for instance, Guillaume in his office, when a car drives in through the gate, it can automatically say someone has arrived. And then they know to go to the counter because someone's just driven in. So there's lots of different customizations. Like I said, it's not really about can it be done anymore. It's more about what can be done and do you have the ideas to actually come up with taking this as far as it can go, right? So just to give you an idea of exactly what settings we get inside of the system. Jason's just messaged me and said it was the desk cam that has. So this one should have all the Securenet AI on it. So these are the only ones we have set up at the moment. Or no, it's selecting multiple. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. So these are all the ones that we can get from the Securenet AI. So we can see alarm in, the counters, all the different entry exits. So lots of different options coming from Securenet. And the one that you want to trigger an alarm, that's the one that you pick, and then you tell it what to do. So that's kind of how this rules and events engine works. As you can see, the NX UI, for those of you that haven't seen it, is very intuitive, very fast. So this system's in Taiwan, right? So if I grab a whole bunch of cameras from the side here, you can see how quick we can kind of bring in all this video. That's live streaming to me in the UK from Taiwan. So that speed is obviously, it's unmatchable at the moment. And then also just the speed of recalling video. Always a timeline at the bottom. Click at any point, all your cameras jump back. And just like I said, we really worked on that usability side. There's no like going to different sections of the software to search for certain things. It feels like one fluid piece of software where everything can be done, single UI. So yeah, that's a really quick demo of obviously the integration and what can be done. So you can see there's the two factors there. There's the searching ability, and then there's the alarm trigger ability. And it's really, and they've come out with a really good embedded product as well that I think is a bit of a game changer. Just simply for deploying AI, it's so much easier as it's all in an embedded device. So on that note, I think we'll jump over and answer some questions. Ivo, do you have anything to add on top of that? Also, if anyone wants to set up demos, so if anyone wants to see a proper demo of the NX Witness software, also integrated with Securenet, reach out to myself or to Ivo, and we're happy to jump onto one-on-one webinars and give you a better example of how NX works and how Securenet works and how we work together. Ivo and I have been working quite closely together in the last few weeks since this meta integration came out. So we're happy to support you guys in any way that you need it.
Yeah, nothing to add, James. I just saw one question come through the chat about, can I connect any camera to the AI box, or do I need to use the Securenet AI cameras? Now, to make it very clear, the AI box will accept any on-VIF capable camera to be connected to the AI box. I mean, somebody was referring, can I use my Optix cameras? Yes, you can. They're on-VIF compatible, so they are connectable to the AI box. And I saw also a remark about pricing. I think that's something we would prefer to handle offline on a one-by-one basis.
Yeah, and then so we got another question coming in via the Q&A. How many VA can I enable per box or per AI box? Can we run standard VA and customization VA on the same box?
Well, how many video analytics can I enable per AI box? We can set up to 80 rules in per IA box. I think that is the question to the first question, answer to the first question. Can you combine standard VA with customization? Yes, depending on the load. I mean, we didn't go into that, but of course, every detection license takes a certain computing power. So there are limitations as to how many you can combine. If the customization VA is a really complicated one, it might limit a bit the number of standard detection licenses that you can add to it. So that is something we would need to take a look at based on the specific application you're working on.
Perfect. So we got some more questions coming in. How does the AI box work with analog cameras? So I assume if you're using an encoder, if we use like an access encoder or something, it'll work the same, right?
Yes, exactly. It's more a question of connectability. I mean, if you connect your analog camera, as you mentioned, James, to a converter, I just need to say it very simplistically, I just need the Ethernet cable to connect to my AI box, so a converter would work.
Yeah, so in other words, we work with the Axis IO or the Axis analog encoders and lots of other analog encoders on the market. So basically, if you have an analog encoder, basically any IP stream, right? Because you grab the RTSP stream. So how about through DVR? I think it's going to be the same answer. Basically, if your DVR is one like the Hikvision one where it has RTSP or ONVIF, then you should be able to grab the RTSP.
Exactly, except if you, I'm not even sure if we still have older models where you would be able to connect a coax cable to it. I would need to check on that, but that's, I think that almost disappeared from the market.
Yeah. Can we run an X server and AI box in the same hardware? Yeah, so if you're using your server software on the server, then we can install on the same server resource.
Yeah. I think the line just dropped away for a minute, so I didn't understand you exactly, James.
So someone's asking if they can run AI box, or I guess the AI software version rather than the embedded.
Well, for the moment, it is as such that we offer the AI software only in the AI box.
Okay.
So you need to buy an AI box. So I cannot load it in another product at this stage. It's something we might be looking at in
which case. Yeah, no, it makes sense. So in which case, you can use, obviously, for those of you that know, our system's really lightweight, to the point where we can install, a 12 camera system on a Raspberry Pi. So basically, if you have the AI box on a 16 channel, then you only need something very lightweight to run the NX server as well. So it's not a huge impact on the cost side of that. Is there a software solution or hardware embedded? So hardware embedded only.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve, for coming through there. And then plugins for third-party cameras. I'll leave that with you, Ivo.
Just want to make sure I understand the question correctly. If you're using third-party cameras, basically you can connect them up to the AI box. So I'm not sure if I'm understanding Steve's question correctly.
Yeah, so Steve, it uses predominantly the RTSP feed. So any camera that has an RTSP feed, then it can connect to the AI box.
Okay. I see asking sorry, if we can install the software on a camera. The answer today is no. We only load it into the range of cameras we have ourselves.
I don't know if smiley face is a question, Steve, but I appreciate it. Cool. Any other questions coming through from anybody?
No, I don't see any other come through.
No. We'll give it a couple of minutes just to see if anyone. Oh, there you go. Do we need to buy AI box plus camera, or is it work with example? Yeah. So he answered that originally, Jordan. So the AI box you don't need a camera with. It will work with my Optix because they're ONVIF. Only the ONVIF ones though. I assume it doesn't work with the MX-PEG. Ivo?
Yeah, correct. It needs to be ONVIF compatible.
For facial recognition, if in the database we key in the person name in other languages such as Chinese, Russian, can their characters be shown? Yeah. So do you support non-Roman alphabet, basically?
Correct. Yes, we support different language settings.
Cool. If anyone else has got any questions, feel free to ask away. If DVR preferred standard RCSP, can it be connected to AI box? Then we'll be working. Yeah. So we do a lot of projects like this, right? We have we're in Spain. We work with one of our partners there that does a lot of Vision DVRs. They allow you to grab RTSP streams from them, and some of them have ONVIF. So yeah, as long as it has that RTSP stream, it will work with us, and it should work with your AI box as well.
Yes. I see a question about doing a quick demo to add the AI box into NX Witness. Not sure.
Yeah, so I think the best thing to do there is if you contact us after this, then we can do a demo for you. It's fairly simple. We have to move the plugin into the NX server. Once the plugin's registered, under system administration, if you can see my screen, there's a plugins tab. And then this the Securenet plugin will show, and it'll say that it's enabled and the port it's running on. Once that's done, then you can go to any camera. You right click the camera, go to camera settings, and under plugins, you'll have the Securenet and you enable it. And once you've enabled it, you'll get a few settings. And then it's just a case of doing the settings on the Securenet side to set up your alarms in your regions. More than happy to set up a time to run over how that's done. As I said, just drop us an email. What I'll do is really quickly, I'll put my email address in the chat. Ivo, I suggest you do the same. So if anyone wants to contact me, .com, it is written in the chat for anyone that needs it. Okay, so if DVR provides standard, yep, so we've done that one. We do a quick demo, we've done that one. Separate license for the box. So the box comes pre-licensed, right, Ivo?
The box comes with a standard.
Oh, sorry, Steve cleared it up. NX license. No, yeah, Steve. So it's just the camera license for NX, and then if the box is running in the background, then it sends the data back to NX. So it's just the license for the one camera that you're using.
Yeah. So looking at the AI box as a standalone product, it comes standard with object tracking and detection. And then next to that, you have a list of roughly 15 different detection licenses you can buy and download as a license key as you go.
What is the highest resolution video stream we can add to the AI box?
It's 4K for the moment.
What has been the most demand on an AI box so far in terms of customer side? So I assume what the main features someone's using?
Various applications. We've been doing a lot recently on people counting. Also, obviously, because of the actual Corona situation. We have a number of license plate recognition projects running. People counting is the biggest one. And then one that has been popping up a lot recently is mask detection as well, because at least in certain European countries, people are moving away a bit from the typical thermal detection methods to find out if somebody has a fever walking into a public area or whatever, and are focusing more of if people are wearing their masks, which has become obligatory in many European countries. So those are the typical ones we are focusing on for the moment. Another area that we're attracting quite some attention is, for instance, also a helmet wearing type of application for construction sites, etc.
Perfect. And then Jordan, can you send me a price list? Jordan, we can speak about that afterwards. But I know that you've got pricing for us for eCare. So eCare is also set up as a distributor for Securenet. So
yeah.
Which is the minimum resolution needed to the AI box for a reliable detection? Can I use low resolution streams for the camera, for AI, and then higher in the VMS for recording?
That's a good question. I need to double check on that for Marco, and I can get back on him on that. Basically, I think I referred to, I said at the beginning of my presentation something about minimum pixel size that you need in order to do a reliable detection. I can get a table on that, which is showing what we minimally need in order to get above that 90% accuracy level to do detection. So the answer is not unifold, so to say. It depends a bit on human fire detection or close detection, if it's a fast moving object or not. We have a table showing the different numbers of resolution that you need for that. So I can get that to Marco.
Yeah, also Marco, you can have, you will be able to have a different resolution in NX to the AI box, because we can grab multiple streams in NX. So if you can do on a low res in AI, and then you can have the high res in ours. The only thing to double check is that the aspect ratio of the stream isn't different, right? So if the lower resolution is in like a 4:3 and then the high resolution is in a 16:9, then the boxes may be slightly off when they're drawing the coordinates. But so yeah, we can grab multiple different streams. That's how we do the speed with our adaptive scaling. Is we have a low resolution and a high resolution stream in NX to basically make sure we consistently deliver the fastest streams, but also at the highest quality possible, and it's all automated inside of our system. So if you want to find out more about that side of things, then reach out to me and we can kind of show you how that all works.
I just saw JJ from Spain asking for the same, so I'll drop my part of that information to him as well.
Yep. Cool. No problem, Marco. So it's alive. So yeah, JJ came through, and then Joseph Park, who I believe is one of your colleagues, is on there. So any other questions? We've had a few people drop off now. If you got any more come through, then let us know. If not, we don't get any in the next couple of minutes, we'll finish up the webinar. And thanks everyone for attending. As I said, any questions, either reach out to myself or Ivo. Or if you want to see a demo from us both, a more comprehensive kind of demo, let us know. We can reach out to one and we can bring the other one to the conversation.
Okay, perfect. Well, again, thanks a lot, James, for the invitation. I hope it was interesting and useful to the audience. And as you just mentioned, if people need more information or want to set up a demonstration or whatever, they can always reach out to you or me, and we'll follow up from there.
Perfect. Right, we'll just we'll give it 6 up. Yeah, no problem. Our marketing will add the video to our YouTube channel. So in our YouTube. Also, feel free to email me as well, just as a reminder. Then I can send you the link when it's done. They just have to process it. They have to cut off me and Ivo talking the first 15 minutes before the webinar kicked off. Otherwise, you'll just hear a lot of us trying to set things up. All right, I think on that note, we'll call that a day. Thanks for joining, Ivo. I think it's really good. Oh no, sorry, Steve jumped on with another one. Will it do detection on video? Canned video. Oh, as in
recordings?
Do you mean as in Tampa, Steve?
Recorded video. So he means recorded video clip, I think, Steve. Yes, I sometimes do demonstrations on my AI box just using recorded video.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. As in, can you for demo purposes? Yeah. So we've done that in a few different systems. We have in our Taiwan office the video that we're using that I just showed you here for the desktop camera somewhere. This is actually using canned video, especially as you can. There's nothing on it right now, but you can draw. You can use our NX test cam to stream videos to NX, and then you can always grab the RTSP stream from NX anyway. To
exactly.
Like
yeah.
A real video. Cool. All right. On that note, we're down to 14 people left. So again, appreciate everyone for coming on. Like I said, reach out to us if you have any more questions, and we'll go from there. Steve, if you want to clarify what you meant by the cam video one, just shoot me an email or give me a call, and I can cover it better with you. Cool, right, appreciate it. And like I said, reach out to us if you have any further questions. And bye for now, and look forward to seeing you in our next webinar. Thanks everyone. Thanks, Ivo.
Thanks everyone. Bye bye.